Alright, find the extrema and points of inflections of this. So, to find that we need the first and second derivative. Now, you might think this is hard, but it really isn't. Can we just pull a 1/2 out? So, for f prime x, do you understand that you could just yank a 1/2 out, first of all? And then don't you derive each piece where it's at? What's the derivative of e to the x? Simply e to the x. And the derivative of e to the negative x? That's going to be e to the negative x times -1. Which ends up being 1/2 e to the x plus e to the negative x. That's the first derivative. Pretty simple. Looks a lot the same. Almost identical, except for one small thing. Next one, we're going to derive this. There's the first piece. We're going to derive that. So we leave the 1/2 out front again. What's the derivative of e to the x? E to the x. Yay! And then derivative of e to the negative x is going to be e to the negative x times -1. Because you got to derive e to the x. That leaves us with 1/2 e to the x minus e to the negative x. That's the second derivative. Now, these two are exactly the same. The second derivative actually was the original function. Okay. Now, to find extrema, which one do we set equal to 0? The first one. So let's set that equal to 0. And if we multiply both sides by 2, you get e to the x plus e to the negative x, still equaling 0. Here's going to be an interesting one. Can I move this one over? Move this over and I get e to the x equals negative e to the negative x. Now here's another interesting thing. To bring this up here. That's going to be e to the x equals -1 over e to the x. Why is that? Negative powers drop. Do you now have a proportion? What's e to the x times e to the x? When e to the x times e to the x is e to the x squared. Oh, and actually it's e to the 2x, sorry. Because e to the x squared, you multiply the 2 times the x, so it's e to the x squared. It's e to the x all squared, which is e to the 2x, equals -1, if you do a cross multiplication. Now, all that is like, okay, what the heck? Well, now, if I natural log both sides, this becomes 2x equals a natural log of -1. It's not possible. That was a waste. There aren't any extrema. But we had to go there and figure out that we get here, we can't get a negative inside of a natural log, so we're done. There are no extrema. But the process is kind of tricky. Now, P of I, let's check for P of I. We take this one, now can I skip some steps? Isn't this exactly like this? So isn't it going to end up looking like this right here? Won't it end up looking exactly like that, except that's a positive? Can you follow me? This is going to look exactly like this, but instead of being a negative, it's going to be a positive. So I'm going to jump right away because they're exactly the same thing. I'm I'm going to jump straight to this point right here. Because when you add that over, both sides will be positive. Now when we cross multiply, we have e to the 2x equals 1. And when you log both sides, you're going to get 2x equals ln 1. And you can divide both sides by 2. What's ln 1? ln 1 is 0, so x equals 0. So there is a point of inflection at 0. Possibly. Let's see if 0 even works. What's e to the 0? 1. E to the 0, negative 0 is still 1. What's 1 minus 1? So when you plug it in, you have the coordinate 0, 0. So it does exist. Got it? The coordinate does exist. Now, do you have to check both sides and make sure it's the points of inflection? So we check both sides. So we go to this equation right here, and we're going to plug a number on both sides. So if you plug in, say you're going to plug in negative 1 and plug in 1. Is that okay? When you plug in negative 1, e to the negative first is 1 over e. And when did that become, if you think, basically you have a 1 over, I'm not talking straight. When you plug in your numbers, this becomes 1 over e. This becomes e to the first. You have 1 over e minus e. Is that going to become negative? If you think about it, that's going to be negative. If you plug in the 1, you have e to the first minus e to the negative first, so this is going to drop to the bottom. Basically, the fraction is going to be smaller than the whole number. So this one will be positive. So yes, this is a point of inflection, because it goes from